Hello, brothers and sisters of the Briar. Professor Jeremiah here. Well, we just got done with the formalities of announcing the winner for my giveaway. And a thing I've just kind of been wondering, and it may be more of a seasonal aspect to the pipe community here on YouTube. I wonder what length of videos do people prefer? There's some YouTube presenters that'll have a 20 to 30 minute video. And there's other presenters that will have a video ranging anywhere from 2 minutes to 5 minutes. What length of video do you prefer? Sometimes those that have the 30-minute videos will have a large number of subscribers. But I wonder how many of those subscribers actually watch 30 minutes worth of pipe smoking video and rambles. Not to say that those presenters aren't good. I've watched many of them. But I will have to say that when it really comes to watching videos myself personally, I tend to watch the ones that are probably 7 minutes or less. I mean, of course, we all watch matches, right? Who would? A lot of times it's just his stories. Now there's the fad for doing live time streaming. And I noticed that a number of people seem to really be responding to that. My concern of a lifetime stream and ramble from me is, would it ever end? I try to be short on a lot of my videos and precise and to the point and talk about my pipe and talk about my tobacco. Sometimes trying to decide whether to tell a story or not, though, I guess it all depends on the mood I'm in. A number of times I start out the day saying, this evening I'm going to shoot a video. And by the end of the day, I'm just tired and I'm wiped out. And I think, oh, that's the last thing I want to do is shoot a video. And so, it's just all in the mood, isn't it? I love to tell stories, and I have many stories to tell, but at times it's being in the mood to tell that particular story. Do I tell the story about being in a river in the middle of West Africa, and I was only there? I've never really been a bird watcher, though I find birds interesting, and I have a bird book that I carried with me in Africa. And anytime I saw a new bird, I would find it in my book and I would check it off and read all of the ins and outs of that particular species. But I wouldn't say that I was driven to find the birds to check off my list. I just checked them off as I found them. And I remember one time telling my coworker that the wild thing of each of the birds that I suddenly noticed were the ones that I was always checking off in my book. They were the birds that when I first got my bird book, my field guide, and would look through it, I would say, oh, I'll never see a bird like this. I'll never see this bird. I'll never see one with the really long feathered tail and the bird's only about this big. I won't see that one. And I'm sorry, if I had the bird book here, I would look it up. But those were the birds that I would see. I would see the hornbill, and I would see all kind of random birds that you normally wouldn't see. The plankton eater. If some of you are out there and want to search that bird, type in plankton eater bird, and I mean, it's just the colors of it, its head. It's an outrageous looking bird, and yet when I first saw it, I was like, it's unbelievable. Well, a number of years back, I found myself in a wildlife preserve, and one of the rangers who was working in the park, he was actually over the anti-poacher patrol. He had told me, he's like, you've got to see this. He said this week is the only week out of the year that a particular bird, and I couldn't tell you for the life of me now what it was, but it is the only week out of the year that this particular bird would migrate through this area. And he said it's here. He said he had seen it. And he's like, I think if we go down by the river in this particular part of the park, we'll see it. And we go down to this area, and the wildlife park there had a warm springs from it. And the area that we were in the park was where the warm springs flowed into another river that wound through the park. And so supposedly the theory is that because of the warmer water coming in to this river flowing, that there would not be crocodiles there, or it was very rare that they were there, and that the hippopotamuses normally didn't come into that area normally. And so we were supposed to be relatively safe. And when we got there, as time progressed, it seemed like, okay, this is going to be better to wade down into the water and watch the grasses that was along the edge of the water to see the bird. And so, it's like, I don't know about this, but we did see the bird, and it was pretty neat. I don't remember the exact details of its full description, but I just remember it was very colorful. I guess I should dig through my journals because I know I'll have the name of the bird there. But anyway, it was great, and it was a super experience. And we watched these little birds, moving around, and just kind of, you're in Africa. You're wading through, the we were kind of in an area that is sub-Saharan, so we called it the bush. So you're in an area that's just foreign to anything I grew up in, and very exhilarating to be there. And while we're watching these birds jump around, all of a sudden, a lot of the bushes start moving, and you start hearing the low gurgle. And here came a whole herd of elephants. And they came right down into the water and passed about 30, maybe could have been about 25 yards from where we were. They went right into the water and back out. Thankfully, we were upstream and not downstream of the elephants crossing. But how incredible to be there and watch about 50 elephants just walk right past that close. And I mean, it's incredible how close it was. And, just a fantastic experience to have. And I was privileged to have many experiences like that, especially in the late 90s. I had the friend that worked at the park, and we were able to go on many adventures within the wildlife park itself, but really just an incredible experience there. Well, my friends, I mentioned in a previous video where I announced the winners for my contest that I would talk about this pipe. As many of you know, I love bamboo shank pipes, and this one, when I saw it a number of years ago, and I just had to have it. I was like, that is an excellent pipe. And what this is, now some of you probably figured it out, this is just raw meerschaum, uncarved. I know it looks real porous, but this is just the way it is, and I've never really seen a block of raw meerschaum like this before. It's very lightweight. It kind of looks like a tooth of an animal or something. I call it my caveman pipe just because it does look so different. And I really don't respect it enough. I really should smoke this more often, but I don't. I don't know how old it is. It was an estate pipe. And at first I even thought, at the time of purchase, I thought I may would just set this pipe on a shelf and just really have it as it's just a shelf piece. But anyway, the more I looked at it and smoked it a couple of times, I found it to be quite enjoyable. nothing real fancy about the tobacco I have in it, or at least not according to some. I'm smoking McQuellan's Best of Show. I've already done 2 review videos on it, and to do a third. Well, what I will say is it has quickly moved into my top 2 favorite aromatics. Now, I smoke a lot of English blends as well, but when it comes to aromatics these days, I typically am either going to go towards Country Estate, of which I still have quite a stockpile of. And as I also mentioned before, Country Estate and Black Cordial Z50 is really the same thing. The only difference is the Country Estate is the tinned version. And so it's really either going to be that blend or Best of Show. And Best of Show, I mean, it is still incredible. For what you get out of it and for what those around you get out of it, I really can't see a better aromatic. I will say that I still am a pretty regular smoker of Cay's Cove Cavendish. Definitely a favorite of mine. Another aromatic is Mark Twain, and I'm sorry I don't remember the number for the Mark Twain. I just really have to pull it off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure it's a Sutliff blend, but somebody can correct me if you want to in the box. But the Mark Twain's pretty good. I have specific pipes that I smoke the Cay's Cove Cavendish or the Mark Twain in. So I have specific pipes dedicated to those. When it comes to Black Cordial or Country Estate versus Best of Show, there's a few pipes that I really rotate back and forth with what I'm smoking. It's pretty much, I want to smoke this pipe and I want to smoke this blend. And nowadays, at times, it seems like I turn to the Country Estate more just because I have such a volume of it. I mean, I had 5 pounds a year ago, and I think now I have like 4 pounds. But anyway, it's the what am I going to say? The Best of Show, though, is a tinned version, and so I can't smoke a pound of tins. I mean, that's just like 1 tin a week, or more than a 10 a week. So anyway, I have to be a little picky at times with how much of the Best of Show I smoke. Well, my friends, I hope this video is not too long. I just thought I would just ramble and be unplugged for a change, and maybe I'll shoot a few videos like this. As I say, it's sometimes it's hard to tell within the community. The community at times seems like it can be picky. Over the 2 years that I've been involved in shooting my own videos for the pipe community, we've seen so many presenters come and go. And there's times that I myself think, I don't know if I want to keep shooting videos. But at the same time, I enjoy it. I enjoy the fellowship, the friendships that I've made within the community. I always hate it when I see somebody leave. And so each time I see somebody leave the community, I think I really couldn't do that to others. I would hate to do that to others. And I've thought at times, maybe if you don't want your videos up there publicly, then lock it down to just those who have subscribed to you. And then only your subscribers will be able to see your old post as well as your new post. I mean, there's a few people out there that I have to say I am glad that I saved their videos back in the past, because if I hadn't saved them, they're gone. And they're entertaining at times just to come back and listen to that individual and hear what they had to say on a particular tobacco blend. Well, brothers and sisters, I hope you have a good rest of the week. Lord willing, I'll be able to shoot a few more videos here. Moving to Mississippi has been such a transition from leaving Nigeria to come here. And I never thought that some of the situations that my coworker and I have encountered, that we would have encountered them. But some for the better, some for the worse, or I shouldn't say worse, but some of them just quite challenging. And I have to say that the Lord's been faithful to us, as I know He will for you. And anyway, brothers and sisters, God bless.